If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you. You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave. Think of it this way. If he's a good guy, he deserves to be happy. That means he deserves to be with somebody who values him and wants him just the way he is. If that's not you, you gotta let him go. He may not see it like this right now, but you're doing both of you a favor.
You need help.
Florida family law tip of the day. Governor DeSantis did sign the alimony reform bill yesterday, so effective today, July 1st, permanent alimony is a thing of the past in Florida. In addition, it limits the amount of alimony the recipient can get to their reasonable need or 35% of the difference of the parties' net incomes, whichever is less.
So Texas GOP has added to its platform that they want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced. And Republicans all over the nation are pushing for this in other state legislatures. So I would advise young women today to not get married legally. Have a ceremony. Have a commitment with your partner. Have a nice wedding, whatever, but do not trap yourselves into the confines of the law with divorce, because when we say that they're not going to stop with banning transgender care and getting rid of gay marriage and continuing to oppress people of color, they're not going to stop with marginalized groups. They are going to go after women, eventually men, but right now they're going after women. And banning no-fault divorce is the most ridiculous fascist thing I've ever seen. It's another way to trap women. It's another way to control women. And so honestly, as a 41-year-old divorced woman, to the young women of today, don't trap yourselves. Don't file the papers. Just be in love and have a commitment.
It has been argued that no-fault divorce undermines the sanctity of marriage by allowing one spouse, typically the woman, to leave a marriage without providing a valid reason. For some men, marriage is seen as a holy, deep-rooted responsibility, a bond intended to persevere through difficulties.
No-fault divorce is a good thing. There is a movement of people who believe no-fault divorces should be illegal. But let me tell you why it's incredibly important. No one should be forced to stay in a marriage if they're not happy, and no one should be forced to jump through hoops to be able to initiate the divorce process if they're not happy. All you're doing is allowing more time to pass for things to get harder and harder for you and your spouse. So I don't think no-fault divorces should be illegal.
I don't think anybody should be forced to stay in a marriage where they are not happy. But again, marriage isn't about happiness. It's a commitment you make to your partner. There's days you're gonna be happy, and there's days you won't. No matter which one of those days you get, you are still expected to commit. I just think that there should be accountability for breaking the vows you made. Women think that no-fault divorce is a control tactic, but really what it is a defensive measure against women initiating divorce based on their feelings. If a woman decides to leave a marriage, she can. Just don't expect to walk with half.
The top of the article is cut off, but yes, it says Republican women say they will switch parties after DeSantis approves alimony law. So last Friday, Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law. It is SB 1416 that will get rid of permanent alimony payments. Well, there was a giant uproar from a group called First Wives Advocacy Group. It's a coalition of older women who say their lives will be upended without their alimony payments. The law allows a judge to reduce or terminate alimony payments based on a number of factors, like the age and health and economic impact on the person who's making the payments. Even if you're married for 20 years plus, you'll probably only get 75% of the term of the marriage. There's a quote in here from one of the women that says 3,000 women across the state of Florida are switching to Democrat and we will campaign against him forever. I gotta say, I never thought that this would be the thing that would wake them up. I bet free healthcare is looking pretty good right now in your old age.
The presentation of no shortcoming divorce has, in certain viewpoints, made it excessively simple for ladies to leave a marriage without adequate reason. once in a while exploiting the framework for monetary or individual addition. Women, particularly older women, who have devoted their lives to taking care of their families at the expense of starting their own businesses, may face financial difficulties as they move from permanent to limited alimony. These ladies frequently depend on long-haul provision to keep up with their way of life after separate.
Did you know that it took over 40 years for the government to legalize no-fault divorce? And researchers who tracked the outcome of that found that there were huge drops in DV and in women no longer ending their lives, as well as decreases in spousal homicide of women. And this wasn't just because women could more easily divorce their partners, but also because potential abusers knew that they were more likely to be left. No-fault divorce saves countless lives and allows anyone to not feel trapped in a relationship that they don't want to be in.
The change reflects societal expectations that gender roles have changed and that women should be financially independent even after a divorce. However, some people were unprepared for this change because they thought men would provide for them throughout their lives. Conservative ladies express worry about changes to separation and divorce settlement regulations. The political scene might move. These women may vote differently in subsequent elections if they believe that these reforms do not protect their interests. Such disappointment could prompt inward divisions inside the party, reshaping party elements and influencing citizen arrangements, especially around family regulation issues.
I recently saw an article where they want to make it difficult for women to get divorced.
So when no-fault divorce became the norm, the suicide rate in women dropped by 20%. 20% just based on
From fault to no fault.
Fault to no fault. So going back to fault divorces does nothing but traps women and keeps them in dangerous situations. Period. Full stop.
This is an all-out assault on women.
So Governor DeSantis just signed into law a bill that would end alimony payments for men who were mandated to pay these payments for the rest of their ex-wives' lives. They called it alimony forever. It protected women who decided or accepted the role of giving up their ability to earn an income to raise families. You know, the traditional Christian values thing. Yeah, they bought into that. And then for whatever reason, the marriage ended and they had already given up their chance to be big breadwinners because they stayed at home. And now he stripped away their income. That makes a lot of sense, right? Reassure women that if they give up their ability to earn income and become stay-at-home moms, that they'll be okay. But, you know, not all of us choose to be mothers, right? Some of us are forced. As a matter of fact, in Florida, if you don't know you're pregnant before 6 weeks, then you're going to lose the ability to have an abortion. And in many cases, little children are going to be forced to have children because there's not a lot of protection for young girls there too, especially a young girl that has not had her first menstrual cycle and is being molested by a man. She's not going to even know she's pregnant and go much past the deadline for that. So I don't know. If I lived in Florida, if I didn't already have a hysterectomy, I'm sure I would be looking into sterilization. I mean, it's just such a mess. Making America great down there in Florida. DeSantis, you're killing it. I mean, you're killing it.
The assumption that ladies ought to get back to the labor force post-separation can be testing, especially for the people who left their vocations and considered men will constantly be the suppliers. These ladies face troubles in returning the work market, particularly more seasoned ladies, or those with obsolete abilities. This features the strain between customary family jobs and present-day financial assumptions, where orientation, uniformity, and separate is normal, yet not sensible all the time. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.